on your wedding, which I suppose, again, if you want to use other examples as well, like people may have been spending a lot of their spare time making an outfit for a concert or whatever your situation may be. It's almost like you may feel like you've got all this extra spare time now, and it's like, what do I do? And I guess maybe that feeling of a little bit of loneliness may start to creep in, or that, yeah, you kind of don't know where to go, or you're a bit directionless of like, what do I do now? And these are all very normal, natural feelings after something like this.
Yeah. And also getting married, it signals a like start of a new chapter in your life. And even though you kind of know that it's coming, it can still feel scary once you're actually in it. It's like, you know, if you have a career change that you've been really excited for, it can feel super scary walking into your first day at that new job. Even though it's what you wanted, it's still just like a scary, and it's kind of unknown territory going into a marriage. Like you think about your wedding and it's this big party, and then the party's over and now the actual marriage begins.
Yeah. The other thing I want to add to that as well, with, I guess, a big life change that I guess is probably something more common with females, is also changing your last name. And I know these days it's very common to still keep your own last name or even hyphenate. You obviously don't need to change your name at all. But yeah, a lot of people still choose to do it because they want the same last name as their partner, or they want the same last name eventually as their children, so they change it. And I suppose for us as women, it really, I guess, it's almost like you're losing your identity. I can see how those feelings could come up. I mean, I'm not married myself, but I could see how those feelings, you know, it could bring up feelings of like losing your identity, and like you've had this same name, people know you by this name, and now you're switching. And at the end of the day, it is just a name, but at the same time, I suppose there's that loss of identity almost.
Yeah, 100%. That's actually something that I'd forgotten about. And definitely when you get married and then you've got to go through or if you're wanting to go through the name changing process, it can be like just a bit strange. And even still, like almost a year later for me, I'm like, I'll get a letter in the mail that has my new name on it, and I'm like, I just
Who's this?
Yeah, there's like a little bit of a disconnect at first between like your old name and your new name, and it's like, who is this person? Like, you're still you, but yeah.
It's everything's, I suppose, a little different.
Yeah.
So, I guess, I mean, some people may choose to not change their name. It all comes down to personal preference. But, for those of you who do decide to change, I can see those feelings again. Very common, very normal.
Yeah. So some of the signs of, I guess, post-wedding blues, Juliet touched on a few of them before, but they can include boredom, lethargy, loneliness and isolation, also a lack of pleasure. Sometimes things can just feel uncomfortable, even with your partner, things can just get a little bit kind of strange. And another one that is very normal is having some slight doubts about the person that you're married. It doesn't actually mean that you're doubting that you've married them and that, you know, you've made the wrong decision, but it is a big thing to be marrying someone. So it's very normal to kind of sit back after the wedding and go, oh my goodness, I hope I married the right person.
Yeah. And I suppose it's just kind of almost like these feelings of like it's finalized, it's official, even though nothing has actually changed. Yeah. It's still, I guess, I could see how it could bring up those feelings where, it's not necessarily that you actually regret anything or you're unhappy. It's more, I guess, just the feeling of change, which I think is to humans, the feeling of change does kind of bring up almost fear in a way, or it's
and
like
anxiety.
Yes, it makes you feel uncomfortable, which is just a natural human response. It triggers like the flight or fight, I think, or something like that. I don't know.
Probably
I can't remember.
Something like that.
Yes, I can't remember what it is, but I know it is. I have heard that that's a thing. Yeah, where it's just the feeling of change.
So we're going to move on to now. We know what it is. We know kind of what it feels like. Now we have some tips on what you can do to actually deal with it, both kind of before the wedding, on the wedding day, and then after the wedding has happened. So the first thing that we'll touch on is during the wedding planning process, just some things that you can do, I guess, to help alleviate and hopefully have those post-wedding blues not be so bad. The first one is to be really mindful when you're planning your wedding to avoid comparing what your wedding is going to be to what other people's weddings are. Whether it's, a family member or a friend's wedding or someone on social media, just try to avoid thinking about, your wedding versus theirs, because it's not a competition on who has a better wedding. It's not about that. It's about planning the day that you and your partner really want to have.
Yeah. And I think even post wedding, that's something important to keep in mind in going into the future as well. And I feel like maybe this could be a really big thing, maybe in that first year of marriage where everything's still quite fresh. And I feel like a lot of couples, when they're getting married, a lot of their friends are also at that same point in life where they're also getting married. So you have a lot of weddings during that season of life. So even after you've had yours, is not looking back and be like, this person's wedding was so much better than mine was, it's not about whose is better or not.
I think as well, something I guess to note about that is that when you're at someone's wedding, it's a very different experience from when you're at your own wedding. I know a lot of people that will speak to their friends after their wedding and their friends are all like, oh my God, we had such a great time. And you're like, I didn't spend any time with you.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to think about when you're looking at, a friend or family member's wedding compared to your own, is that the experience of a guest versus the experience of you as, the person getting married is worlds apart.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's just a completely different view of the day when it's yours compared to being a guest.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot more responsibility when it's your own, when you're the one hosting. So you really do. It's a completely different experience when you're the one getting married and then versus being a guest at someone else's.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have loved to go back in time and be a guest at my own wedding.
Yeah, how fun would that be?
Yeah, I think it would be so good. Because, obviously you are kind of still thinking about things that could go wrong on the day or things that maybe didn't go perfectly to plan earlier in the day or anything like that. So it would, be so cool to
be
go back and
your
see
own
that.
guest. The next point on our list that you kind of want to keep in mind beforehand is to recognize that your wedding isn't the same as marriage, and have an open discussion with your partner about how you want your marriage to be and maybe some of your expectations. And I mean, I feel like maybe couples who have been living together already have their kind of routine of daily life and what that looks like, but maybe you're someone who hasn't really lived with your partner beforehand, and that it's a good idea to have that discussion with them and be like, who's doing what around the house, or this is you want to once or twice a week you want to spend quality time with each other, that's scheduled in so that's going to happen, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good one. The next point that we also have is to plan your honeymoon for a few weeks after your wedding. The reason for this is because it gives you something to still look forward to after the wedding is over. So like we sort of mentioned earlier, you can get kind of these post-event blues after a concert or a holiday. So if you are going straight from your wedding to your honeymoon, then you come back and you just have to go back to work. It's kind of like both of those blues are combined, and it might just make things kind of feel a little bit worse. So if in the wedding planning process you're feeling like I'm going to have a complete come down after this wedding, I would definitely say just plan for your honeymoon to be a little bit after your wedding. So you've got that time straight after to sit in the feelings of your wedding being over, to kind of settle into your marriage a little bit, and then still have that thing to look forward to of your honeymoon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Another really great tip is to do couples counselling in the lead up to your wedding, as well as continue that after the wedding. And I feel like there's this stigma around counseling that you only need it if you've got serious issues. And sometimes it's just a really safe space to bring up discussions with your partner that you normally wouldn't have a chance to do with your, I guess, daily busy life. And this can really, I guess, help bring up those conversations if you're feeling, these post-wedding blues or you're feeling a little down. It's like, how can you communicate that with your partner so that they can support you with those feelings? And who knows, they might be feeling the same way. And it's like, together you can be sad. Together you can work through those feelings and maybe plan other things to help you get through that.
Yeah. And also, like, if you're going to a professional, they're going to be able to give you like actionable steps to be able to work through it together, rather than just like sitting down and having a conversation with your partner but kind of not really coming to a resolution. Going to a professional, they're going to help guide you through that so that you actually can come out the other side better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actionable.
Yeah.
Points. All right, let's move on to your wedding day. What can you do on your wedding day to help this tell us?
So the main thing that I would say for you to do on your wedding day is to really prioritize the things that are important to you. So whether this is spending literally the whole day like linked arm in arm with your spouse so that you don't ever feel like you didn't spend enough time with them, or it might be literally breaking up for the night and not breaking up, not spending the night together and mingling with your guests so that you do kind of have that more party experience with your friends. Like either way is literally fine, but yeah, definitely have that discussion together and make sure you prioritize what is most important to you. I saw a TikTok not too long ago of a bride and groom, and in their speech, or in the groom's speech, he pretty much said straight out to all of their guests that we will not be doing the rounds tonight. Like, we want to spend as much time together as we possibly can, because all we hear from other couples is that they didn't spend enough time with their partner. They said, we're not going to go and speak to any of you. If you want to speak to us, absolutely come up. We'd love to speak to you, but you're going to have to make that move because we just want to be together. Yeah. And I think that's really beautiful, like setting that boundary for your guests that please don't expect us to come up to you, to make conversation, to come over and dance, because we just want to be together.
Yeah, I think that's really sweet. But yeah, again, it's all about personal preference and what you want during your wedding and your day, if you want to spend as much time as possible together with your partner. Yeah,
even if like you want to leave the reception early, like leave the reception early, or if you want to find a quiet place, or if you want to be in the middle of the dance floor, it doesn't matter what it is that you want to do. Just make sure that what you're spending your wedding night doing is what you have always wanted to.
Yeah. And I think as well, as another point, is also trying to, I guess, see the bigger picture and not stress too much on the day about any little things that go wrong, because it's easy for those little things then to stew on them later on and be like, oh, like that didn't go to plan, like I'm so annoyed, and then that can just brew later on post-wedding. So yeah, like on the day, just be really kind of open-minded and just, people will still enjoy themselves even if little things do go wrong throughout the day. Just try to keep enjoying yourself and, it is what it is. Like if things do go wrong, it's not the end of the world, and don't let that get to you later and have the thoughts that like, oh, if this didn't happen, it would have been perfect. Like, no, it was perfect. Trust me.
Yeah. I think on that note as well, if there's something that's like not how you envisioned it or not how you planned, and there's an opportunity to speak to somebody and kind of ask the question, can this be changed? It's not what I had in mind. Ask the question, because if you don't ask that question, you're kind of always going to be wondering if it could have been different. Like as an example, on my wedding day, the way that they had the reception laid out was like almost perfect, but I had expected the tables to be like joined in, I guess, a bit of a U shape. And they weren't joined together. It was just like the head table and then two guest tables. And I noticed it as soon as I walked in, like on the day of the wedding, before like the ceremony and everything. And I was like, oh, whatever, like it's fine. And then literally the next day and ever since I've been like, why did I not just say, hey, just wondering, like, is it possible to move the tables to be like this? That's more what I had in mind.
Yeah.
So like, if there is something like that you can just ask the question, there's still plenty of time for things to be changed, ask the question. And if it can't be changed at that point, then at least you asked.
You tried,
Yeah.
Okay, now let's take a look at things post-wedding. So what are some tips and tricks that could help you prevent post-wedding blues after the wedding?
So the first thing that I would say is to try and take up a new hobby with your partner that can kind of replace some of the time that you spent wedding planning. So a lot of the times we'll say, oh, I don't have time to do this, or I don't have time to do that with my partner. We're busy doing other things. But if you think about all of the time that you did spend planning your wedding in the past 12 or 18, 6 months, however long you were in the planning process for, the chances are, you do have a little bit of time each week that you can set aside to do something with your partner. So yeah, I kind of like to call this switching the obsession, because in the lead up to wedding planning, you are kind of obsessing over planning your wedding. So after the wedding's over, try and find something new that the two of you can kind of obsess over together, whether it's like going dancing. If you really enjoyed, learning your first dance, keep going ballroom dancing. Like just because you only did it for one night doesn't mean you have to stop now. It might be playing a sport, or I don't know, literally anything.
And in general, I feel like it's a really sweet way to kind of start off your married life, where you're, spending this really kind of quality time together, making that extra effort while doing something fun. It kind of, I guess, helps bring you closer together to do something you normally wouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
I think it's really sweet.
This next one that we have is to make plans to look forward to. So these don't always have to be like a really big extravagant thing. It might just be, a date night, a movie night, just anything that can kind of keep you excited with your partner. And I guess a good method for this is the 2-2-2 method. And basically all it is that every 2 weeks you'll have a date night, and that could literally just be like cooking a really nice meal, setting out candles on the dinner table, putting the phones away, and eating a meal together. Or it might be something, a little bit more fancy, going out, going to the movies, anything like that. Every 2 months you'll spend a weekend away or a night away, just to kind of get yourselves out of the normal routine.
Even if it's a staycation.
A staycation.
Also cute.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like far away. It could, literally just be going 10 minutes down the road and staying at a little resort.
Yeah.
And then every 2 years to take a week-long vacation or holiday. So this just kind of always keeps you having something, to look forward to that you're excited about.
Yeah. And again, also having that kind of quality time locked in.
Yeah.
So I feel like in general, it's just like a nice kind of routine and habit to get into, that, you're guaranteed, you're setting that time, to be with your partner every 2 weeks with the date nights at least. So yeah, I think it's a really nice habit as a newlywed couple.
Yeah, it can be really easy to just fall into a routine of just like hanging out at home with your phones, with the TV on, or like, separating when you both come home from work and he's playing his games and you're in the room reading or watching maths or so yeah, just like taking that time regularly and planning it out in your calendars that this day every 2 weeks we're going to have a night together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think linking onto that is also making the small things special and making time for the small things. It can sometimes be that kind of daily effort into those small things that end up being the most meaningful and exciting. So greeting your partner when they come home from work, being really present and putting your phones away during a mealtime, sitting down with them maybe 10 minutes a day or 10 minutes after dinner and just kind of talking to each other
Yeah.
about what happened throughout the day, and just, yeah, really making time for those little moments. Because, yeah, again, I feel like it's very easy to slip into a routine that doesn't include that stuff.
Yeah.
When overall, like, they're the little things that kind of really bring you guys together.
And yeah, it's definitely those small things that really make the biggest difference long term as well. So like if you think about getting home from work, your partner is sat on the couch on their phone watching TV and they kind of just go, oh, hey. And that's like all the greeting that you get versus you come home, they put the phone down, they come over, they give you a cuddle, say, how was your day? Like that in the long term is going to make a huge difference because for 6 months or so, you might be like, yeah, whatever, like doesn't matter that they're not really greeting me when I get home. But then like 5 years down the line, if you're still not getting that, like, yeah, that's when it can kind of become a problem.
Yes. And sometimes like those little habits then form into bigger habits. And yeah, it just, as the years go on, can then slowly turn into an even more pronounced version of that. And it just, you know, then you end up feeling really disconnected from each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So definitely put the effort into the small things, make them special.
And I suppose as well, just to bring it back to the post-wedding blues, I feel like those little small acts of kindness and acts of effort can then also really help to make you feel like, oh, my partner's here for me.
Yes.
And that, yeah, it's like we weren't just planning this big wedding together and now it's over. It's like, no, this is like cute.
Yeah.
We're married.
Yeah. The next thing that I would say is to take some time to look through your wedding photos, get some printed, put them around the house so that you can reminisce on the day. But something to, I guess, be mindful of with this is to try not to spend all of your time like just looking at your photos and videos from the wedding. Because that's when it can kind of get a bit depressing when like all you're doing all day is looking back at photos from another time. Make sure that you do try and stay present in the moment as well, which is also where kind of those smaller acts of love, I guess, make all the difference too. Yeah.
And yeah, having the photos on the wall can be like a nice way to remember it on a daily basis without sitting down and just obsessing over, I guess, you know, the day and it being in the past. Where it's like if you have a really nice photo, as soon as you walk in the door every day, it's like, look at us. and then like, okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, it can be like a little reminder as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of maths again, but you know how I don't know how many of you watch maths. Do you watch maths?
No.
Oh, so they get married and then they go away for like a week or however long on their honeymoon. And then when they come back, they move into a house together, and always like sitting on the bedside table or somewhere in the house is a wedding photo. So, and it always happens every single couple, whether they've had like an amazing honeymoon or a not so great honeymoon, they come home into their new home, they see this photo of their wedding day and then they reminisce on the day and it makes them feel better. So yeah, if you've got that photo kind of in your house all the time that you look at every day, it's just like that little reminder of like, oh my gosh, like we had such a great day. And then that can prompt those conversations of, you know, let's talk about our marriage. Like we're married. Oh my God.
Yeah. In a really healthy way though. I feel like that kind of helps. So, all right, let's move on to some more general tips and just a more general discussion about it all. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the first thing that I would say here is that if you're noticing that these feelings of sadness are lasting for kind of a very long time, definitely don't be ashamed to seek help from a professional. That's what they're there for. Like you were kind of saying before, Juliet, there is a little bit of like a stigma around going and seeing like a psychologist or a counselor about your mental health. But I think the best way to look at your mental health is in the same way as you look at physical health. So you would never like judge somebody for saying, oh yeah, I go and see like a PT every week and I go to the gym. But like, so why would you judge somebody, or why would somebody judge you for doing that same thing for your mental health?
Yeah.
It's kind of like apples and apples.
Yeah,
You've got
absolutely.
to have a healthy mental
Yeah.
health relationship.
Yeah. And again, it's like, don't have the mindset, or you don't need to have like a really big serious issue to go seek help for something like this. Like, don't feel as though like your situation isn't warranting professional help because you're like, oh, I'm just sad. Like, these feelings are just sad because, my wedding's over. Like, if they're prolonged feelings, like, absolutely, even in general, like, even if they're not prolonged, like, you don't need, like, you can go seek help and without it necessarily being, a massive thing.
Yeah. I think something to, I guess, mention is that, like, there's always things that everybody can kind of improve on regardless. So, like, even if you're feeling, pretty fine, but just a little bit sad still that the wedding's over, or, it's a week after the wedding and you're, like, really sad, just go and speak to somebody about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another really good kind of practice you can get into is journaling, practicing gratitude and mindfulness. Those are all known methods or proven methods to, help or increase your mental health. Going for walks, listening to podcasts, favorite music, reading a book, sunshine, fresh air. These are all really great things you can do to make yourself feel better.
Yeah. And then something else as well is to try and, I guess, switch your mindset from feeling like sad that it's over to feeling like happy and grateful that it happened. Like you said, practicing gratitude is such a like easy, I guess, way to switch your mindset from being like, sad to feeling more happy about things. And then something else that I have kind of seen around a little bit lately and did a bit of research into is there is a neuroscientist. Her name is Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor. She is a Harvard-trained neuroscientist. And basically what she found in her research is that emotions only actually last 90 seconds in the brain. And that can like seem like not a lot of time at all for like a feeling of sadness or happiness, any emotion, to only last 90 seconds. But basically after that this might come across as like, I guess, kind of silly, but after that 90 seconds, it's basically if you're still feeling that same emotion, you're choosing to stay in that state of mind. So I'll read you a little excerpt from her book, which is called My Stroke of Insight, A Brain Scientist's Personal Journey. So it reads, when a person has a reaction to something in their environment, there's a 90-second chemical process that happens in the body. After that, any remaining emotional response is just the person choosing to stay in that emotional loop. Something happens in the external world and chemicals are flushed through your body, which puts it on full alert. For those chemicals to totally flush out of the body, it takes less than 90 seconds. This means that for 90 seconds, you can watch the process happening, you can feel it happening, and then you can watch it go away. After that, if you continue to feel anger, fear, and so on, you need to look at the thoughts that you're thinking that are re-stimulating the circuitry that's resulting in you having this physiological response over and over again. So basically what that is saying is that, yes, something happens and you feel that feeling, but if you continue to feel that over and over, it's your thoughts that are triggering that kind of emotional response. So it's kind of important to note that you can change your thoughts to be something more positive. As soon as you kind of feel this feeling come back, try and switch that thought to be something else.
And I guess that's where even like therapy and stuff comes into it, and maybe gratitude and all that kind of stuff, because then that stuff is, I guess, or this is how I see it. I'm not a professional or anything. That you're through therapy and gratitude, you're training your thoughts to then not think that way. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So especially like if you have thought a certain way about a certain thing for a long time, you have to retrain your brain to think differently.
Yeah. And get to the root of what's causing that thought process. Yeah.
So like you have had that thought probably thousands and thousands of times. So it's not going to be, you know, a one day thing where you switch that thought over and all of a sudden you're never going to feel that emotion because of that thing again.
Yeah.
It's the repetition, and that's why it's important, to either go to therapy or practice these mindfulness kind of things regularly, not just as a once off. And that's what's kind of in the long term. This isn't like a quick one day switch. No. It's a long term change that
just think differently.
Just think differently.
All my problems are solved.
So I think that's important to kind of just bear in mind as well, is that yes, if you're feeling this way for a long time, absolutely go and seek professional help. But there are kind of little small changes that you can do every day that might help to alleviate it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously if there's more of a serious issue, that also then goes on to, you know, something else and actually being diagnosed with something. Because that's always the possibility too, you know, with this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, 100%. This is just a reminder that if you do need professional support or mental health help, we will have some resources in the show notes, so definitely go and check them out. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Save the Date podcast. We hope you learned something new, and if you're currently planning your wedding, congratulations, good luck, and have fun.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you follow or subscribe and leave us a review wherever it is that you're listening.
Make sure to come and connect with us on our socials at the Save the Date podcast and join our Facebook group, the Save the Date community. We hope you have a wonderful day or night, and we will be back with another episode next week. Bye.
Bye.
Been something that I have been in love with lately. I think I really like the yellow. So when I was thinking about planning my wedding and like before we decided not to have a bridal party, in my head my bridesmaids were going to be in like champagne or like a champagne-y kind of color. And so I think I really like the lemon yellow because it is similar in that sense, but it does just bring that bit more of a pop of color.
Yeah.
And then, something about baby blue as well. And your bridesmaids being your something blue.
Yes. That's
like
really
if they're in
sweet.
blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I've seen people do that with like more vibrant blues.
Yeah.
But I think that's just like such a sweet idea.
Yeah, I agree. And those kind of more pastel colours.
Yeah.
It's like it's a nice way to incorporate that colour without it being overpowering.
Yeah.
If you don't want it to be too loud.
Yeah, and I think with like those more pastel colors, like you said, they still kind of go with everything. So even if you're having a different color for your flowers or something like that, it's not going to clash
Too much.
Yeah,
I agree. Okay, so this next one I've seen only online. I haven't witnessed anyone I know personally do this, but is actually kind of making up like a newspaper sort of thing.
I love this.
Yes. And which if you look it up on Pinterest or maybe even, I don't know, TikTok perhaps, it'll probably come up and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's basically like making a custom newspaper with photos of the couple as like the pictures in the newspaper and then different headlines. And it's either the menu for the reception, or it also has like the events timeline of the night. So
That's
it's like,
so cool.
if speeches are at 9 p.m, it's got a section or a column of like the speeches, who's speaking in the speeches, what time the cake's cutting, what time the first dance, all of that kind of stuff, as well as, and there's like little passages of like little things about the couple and all that kind of stuff. And it's just the cutest thing ever. Like
that is so cool.
It's just, you can have a couple on the table, so not everyone needs one, which is really fun as well. Like if you don't want to give everyone a menu card, you can cut down costs by putting maybe 3 or 4 on every table or something like that. And it's just a fun, creative way to do that.
That's so cool. I haven't seen it done like in that way. I've seen people do like newspapers as like a save the date photo type thing. Like they'll get a photo shoot done with like the newspaper as like save the date or as baby announcements.
Oh yeah, baby announcement. Yeah, that's cute too. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think it is, most people do use the engagement photos for the spread as well. So it's like on theme.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just seen them around and I'm like, oh, that is so cute. Like how aesthetic.
Yeah. All right. This is something that we sort of did at my wedding. And I also always see people talk about it online, is having a last dance.
Oh, yes.
So we did it a little bit differently than like what I've seen online. But basically at the end of the night, you like pick a song. All of your guests are kind of getting ready to leave or have left the dance floor and the reception space. And you and your partner just get to have like one last dance. Just the two of you together, kind of like really soaking in the like final moments of your wedding day.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like, it's so, so special.
Yeah.
We did ours a little bit differently in that everyone was still there. We just like cleared the dance floor.
Yeah.
And we invited our parents to join us. So like me and Harrison were slow dancing. My parents were slow dancing and so were his.
Yeah. That's so cute.
And it was just like really, really cute, like nice way.
Yeah.
And nice memory.
Yes.
To
And I feel like
end the night with.
Yeah, and it, like as a guest watching it, it kind of helps like wind down.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice kind of calming way to end the night where it's like, oh, this kind of like tying a little ribbon, a little bow. Night's ended. But
Yeah, it's a bit nicer than like, okay, DJ cuts the music.
Bye,
and
everyone.
now it's silent and the lights come on.
Yeah, I love that idea. It's really, really nice. Okay, so my next one is having little either personalized or just plain ones, if whatever you can find, but those like little hotel slippers
Oh, yeah.
for the girls that are in heels dancing the night away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was at a wedding who did this, and because I don't know who knew someone in the hotel business. Someone did. So they had a bunch of these hotel slippers, but you can also get them on, like Amazon, Alibaba in, I think, bulk. So you can get a bunch. And you wouldn't actually know. It wasn't a wedding. It was at a 21st I went to. Yes, that's right. But same concept.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the end of the night, like, I started noticing all these girls with these slippers on. I was like, where are you getting these? And they're like, oh, yeah, they're handing them out like near the bar. I was like, okay, wait here. Went and got a pair. Best thing ever.
That's so smart.
Yes, because like it's inevitable that if you're wearing heels most of the time that you're going to end up with sore feet.
Yeah.
Dancing. So like what a cute way to just a little like helping hand to your guest to make them a little more comfortable and they can continue dancing the night away.
That's so cute. I love that. I've seen people do like thongs.
Oh yeah.
Or
same
flip flops.
Yeah. Same thing.
Here in the US.
Equally as good.
But for some reason I just don't like that.
Yeah.
Like the thongs or the flip flops, whatever you want to call them. Just like kind of gives me the ick.
Yeah.
But little like
toes on display.
Well, I don't know what it is about it. It's just like I just don't like it.
Yeah.
But having like little slippers.
Yeah.
It's just
Those
so
good.
cute. I love that.
Yeah. Little hotel slippers.
That
It's just
tiny
so
little
good.
tweak in the type of slip-on shoe that it is.
But yeah, a really fun idea if you're concerned about that and want to pick up a few pairs.
Yeah, love that. This next one I have seen a lot lately, and it's basically like getting a old-fashioned, I guess, camcorder and having someone film your wedding day, and it kind of makes it look like a 90s/early 2000s home video.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like, I love it so much. In the same way that like having digital cameras or not digital cameras, what are they called?
Like little film cameras.
Little film cameras. The disposable is the word I was thinking of. Gives like that fun vibe.
Yeah.
in that same way, but just the footage. And I think it's probably, I like it so much. I'm not sure about your family, but my dad had like a camcorder.
Same.
And
Yeah.
we have so many home videos.
Same.
From back when I was like a literal child. And it just feels so like nostalgic and so special. And there's so timeless. I don't know. There's just something about it that just gives the best vibes.
It's just like this raw kind of in the moment footage. And like even my parents had someone filming their wedding. Like they've got a wedding video with a camcorder, but it was just because obviously that's all there was back then. Yeah. So it's like a legit camcorder recording of their wedding. And yeah, like that's what I think of when you were saying this, where it's like, like it's just such cool footage because I mean, I think it makes it more cool because that was the only thing at the time. So it's like, that's the only footage that exists. And even photos were pretty basic. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's such a fun idea.
I think
very
it's
timeless.
So cool. I don't know, what it is, because obviously we have such better technology nowadays to get like a video that's crisp and
high quality
and looks amazing. But the camcorder videos, nothing will ever surpass it.
No, just the best. So this next one, I also have been seeing this like online, which I think is super cute, as it kind of goes on the theme of giving a wedding favor to your guests that's kind of practical but also a bit cutesy. And it's actually having a little matchbox that has like your names on it or whatever, it like some sort of, cute design on it. That's your wedding date and your two names, all that kind of stuff. Because again, it's like one of those things that like everyone needs matches at some point. Yeah. So it's like, it's something your guests can actually use, but then it's this like super aesthetic little kind of logo from your wedding. That's on the matchbox. Cute. So
yeah, I like that. I feel like that's like the exception to the rule of like, don't just get cheesy, personalized stuff as a wedding favor, because it is so practical and like it's something that everybody uses at some point. They're going to be able to use it. It's not like they have to have it on show or
no. And like the ones I was seeing wasn't just like the two names and a date, which I mean, that's, you can do that if you want to, but like the ones I saw were actually, it looked like a Matchbox brand, the way they had done the logo on the front of it. So like if you were just kind of glancing at it, you wouldn't actually think it was a wedding favor of some sort. It just looked like some sort of logo for a brand, and then when you actually properly look at it and read it, it's like, oh, that's like a wedding date and two random people's names. So yeah, very creative.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Next up is one that I really wanted to, or something that I really wanted to do or have at my wedding, but it was just way too far out of my budget. And it is a live wedding painter. This is another thing that I think we've spoken about before on the podcast. But basically they come in and paint like a big proper painting, a moment from your wedding day, and they do it on the night of the wedding. Yeah. So like, I mean, you're not standing there and posing for them for 8 hours. They'll like take a photo of whatever moment that it is that you want, whether it's your first kiss or any photo in any location, and then throughout the night they're like painting it. Yeah. And it's just so cool. Yeah. And generally like they'll then take it away for however long they need and perfect it and make sure it actually looks accurate and up to their standards and that kind of thing. But like throughout the day and night you actually get to see like this photo, this painting come to life.
And just duck in and look. Just watching the progression of it. And I've also, on that same note, seen this done for the guests as well, as like, I guess it's just like a mini kind of simplified version.
Yeah, I think so.
And they paint the guests in their whatever they're wearing. So it's
the ones that I've seen for that have been like either watercolor or like pastels or something like that. And they kind of have a standard what would you call it?
Like a silhouette almost.
Silhouette kind of thing. Yeah. And then they'll just like paint in what your dress looks like or
Yeah.
what the suit looks like or something
Yeah.
like that. But they're so cool as
Yeah,
well.
as well.
Like that would be something
Yeah.
I'd be
And
chuffed to
same.
get that. Like so cool.
Painted me?
Yeah.
Really?
For free?
Oh. So cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Our next one is having a champagne wall, which I feel like
Love.
I've seen this a lot on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you actually like ring a little bell, and a little hand comes out of nowhere and hands you a glass of champagne.
I love it so much. It's just like one of those really extra things
I
that
know.
you definitely don't need,
No.
but it's just so much fun.
Yeah. And if you've got the budget,
If you
go
got-
off.
Yeah, exactly.
Go for it. Pop off.
It's just, yeah, so cool. And I think actually, well, I don't know if it's based on this, but I saw a TikTok of someone in like Italy or France or somewhere like that. And there's a wine bar that is literally like the
That's
exact same
the
thing. You ring a
concept.
bell, you give them your €5 or whatever it is, and then they hand you a glass of wine through the wall.
Yeah. Ah, what a place. How fun. But yeah, at weddings, such
So
a
cool.
like quirky little like
Yeah.
fun thing for your guests, but definitely not necessary.
I wonder if like they actually are as cool in real life as
Yeah.
they seem to be online.
Yeah.
Because obviously like online you can like you're not seeing the behind the wall
Yeah. True.
kind of thing. But if you're actually there in person, if you go to a certain like if
Yeah.
you just walk 10 meters that way, you're probably gonna see the people and the
Yeah.
glasses
That's
of
true.
champagne behind.
Yeah.
the
Or
wall.
it's like if there's only so many hands, is there a long wait?
yeah, how long are you
The
lining up for?
practicality of it. But it looks cute
Yeah.
for a 7-second video online.
Okay, the next one is having linen signage. I don't know if you've seen this.
No, I was gonna. Okay,
It's
yes.
basically like one of the girls here showed it to me.
Okay,
actually
yeah.
first. It's basically like a piece of linen or a piece of material
Yeah.
of some sort that's like cut out as your sign, and then like painted on that is like whether it's welcome to the wedding or
Yeah.
bars this way or anything like that. Just like painted on this bit of fabric, and
Yeah.
then I've seen them hung from like they just wrap it around like the tree or something, and then it just kind of like flows in the wind.
That was my
and-
next question. Is it like flapping around, or
Yeah.
like is it on something? Yeah.
No, it's just like
Dangling.
free, just dangling
Yeah.
from somewhere. And I just think it looks so cool and like organic and natural and like just a really cool way
Yeah.
to have like something different as your
Yeah.
signage rather than just like an acrylic
Yeah.
like poster type thing, which is obviously fine. Like it doesn't matter what you do. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's really cool. And obviously I think this is something that wouldn't suit every single venue.
No.
Because like
Yeah.
if you're in more of like a city type venue, having this might not work as well. But in like a vineyard or
Yeah.
a garden or something like that,
Yeah.
I think they just look so cool.
And a like fun way to add in a different texture
Yeah.
as well, to kind of just make it more interesting, more
Yeah.
creative. Really nice. Last one before we get onto our X is having a customized drawing of your venue on your invitations.
Yeah.
Which I've seen, I think, was it one of the girls here in the
Yeah,
office?
one of the girls here has done it.
Which is so cute. One of the other girls in the office, which is a good friend of hers, is an artist. She paints and she draws. So Liv, who's getting married, has gotten this friend to draw her a photo of the venue they're getting married in. I don't know if it's the venue or the chapel they're getting
I think
married
it's
in.
the chapel that they're getting.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my
Yeah,
head,
but it's a little
something like
photo
that.
of where they're getting married, and it's their invite, which is
Yeah.
that's just the sweetest thing ever.
I think it is so cute. And I've
Yeah.
seen like a couple of other photos, I guess, of that online since then. And yeah, I just think it's such a cool way to like introduce the venue to the like your guests in like a sweet little way.
Yeah.
And like, again, this is something that will be very dependent on what kind of venue you have. But like hers, when it's like a little brick chapel or something like that, where it's like just so special and unique.
Yeah, and it's like you get a custom invitation that it becomes it would be a keepsake anyway, your wedding
Yeah.
invite, but it just makes it that little bit more personalized to
Yeah.
you, which is really fun.
And I think like if you're getting that drawing done anyway, you could get them to like make you a copy that's like just the venue on its own.
Yeah.
And you could just put like your wedding date or something down the bottom. And that's like a cute thing that you could have framed or something in your house as like a little subtle way to like celebrate your wedding.
Nod to your wedding day.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, really nice, super cute. Hopefully you find a friend who can also draw and paint. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm sure there's someone
There'll
online.
be like heaps of people surely on Etsy that do it.
Yeah, I can do that for you.
Okay, we have some icks. Some wedding related icks. Now, before we get into these, obviously these are our opinions only. And if you do this, do it. Like if you like it, do it. It doesn't matter at all. We're not here to judge you. We just don't like them ourselves.
We're calling them icks, but it's just stuff that's not our personal
not
preference.
our vibe. Yeah. You said that so much better than I was rambling.
Stressed. I don't want people to hate me. I promise.
I'm not trying to cause drama.
I swear.
Yeah, our personal opinions.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
The first one that I saw a TikTok of lately
Yeah.
is a roaming singer.
Yeah.